Hello there, it's me, RJB. And recently I was watching some replays, and out of nowhere, I came to the realization that the person I was watching was in fact Braingod himself. And someone has been asking for some Braingod replays as of recently, and I decided, you know what? I'm gonna find more of this guy in my list and cast this guy's replays. Now, the person in question is SB Tothes, or however you pronounce it. I'm just going to call him Brain because that's way easier than because I'm 100% certain this guy has to be Brain. I could be wrong. I did some checking as well to check his EAPM because Braingod has a very high EAPM that is matched by pretty much only one person. And that one person is Kimki-san. Now Kimki-san's EAPM drops quite hard the longer the game goes on. But Brain's EAPM always stays stupidly high. And he's pretty much the only person who has such an amazing EAPM ratio. Which leads me to believe this guy has got to be Brain. And I didn't expect to be finding Brain replays within a pile of replays of which I already thought I knew who he was and who he wasn't. But I was wrong. So today we've got Terran against Protoss as is the usual matchup with 458. I do have a lot of replays with 458 on Terran, but most of the times it's more interesting when he's on the Protoss because he is up against really good Terran players. Now whether Braingod will be good enough to show 458 all the corners of the ring, that's what we'll be finding out here. Well, 458 starts off with a pretty conservative build order, not very aggressive, not very early heavy. He's got to be scaling up first. The SV finds him pretty early on, but the Marines are way too far away to have any impact on these cannons that are morphing. So all that 458 has to do is damage this SCV there before any of those Marines arrive. Now do note that 458 does not know where Braingod is located on the map. That's why he's pulling out all those probes to try and protect his cannons here in the front, but he didn't really have to. Although, I might be wrong. Nope. It looks like he didn't have to, because both cannons would have finished in time. This cannon would have taken a bit more damage, but it's better to be safe than sorry, because if you get scouted this quick by a Terran, it is safe to assume that the Terran is really close to your base. And in that case, it's always wiser to pull about 3 or 4 probes to your choke and fight off those Marines there in the front, because you don't want those Marines killing your choke and putting your base and your life and your game in danger. So smart move there from 458 to adapt. It did slow down his gas income there though, because he had to pull off 4 probes, which means less income, which also means he couldn't afford that second assimilator, which he can now afford, but it will slow down his progression into that tech drop that he so much likes to go for, which I'm sure he's going for, otherwise he wouldn't be going for this specific build order. Got a Citadel of Doom there placed a little bit weirdly. But while all that was going on, Braingod didn't really make any more Marines, because he saw that there's cannons here in the front, which eliminates the possibility of 458 going for a lot of Zealots that can deal damage or harm Braingod. Braingod here getting caught off guard there, loses 2 of his Marines, which now means that those 2 Zealots can go scout the map and look to damage Braingod here. Braingod has 6 Marines there in his choke, already has 2 command centers. So that's what I wanted to talk about earlier. Because he saw those cannons here in the front for 458, he decided to stop making Marines and build 2 command centers first, so that he could boost up his economy in conjunction or in alignment, or to be parallel too. There's a lot of ways to describe this really, but basically to match 458's probe count and his income, so that he can get richer faster than if he didn't. It does mean that he will be cutting it very close to the edge though, because he doesn't have many Marines at all. You will have to rely on stim upgrade and Marine range to stay alive. So more depots being built there in the front. He's building them a little bit weirdly. Most people like to build them here on the side, but he likes to build them here, I assume? I assume he's going to build them here, because he's lifting up his barracks already, which is also a very trademark Brain thing to do. He likes to lift those barracks up very early and rely only on those couple of Marines that he has there, which is very risky here though, because 458 now has the information that those barracks have been lifted and he's now building 2 starports, which might mean that 458 is going to mix things up. 458 there has scouted the entire base of Brain, so he has all the information he needs. And if I was Brain, 458 right here, I would maybe go for a switch into a ground heavy or a gateway heavy approach, because I have the information that Brain in this case doesn't have that much ground defense, or is not able to produce that much ground defense. But it looks like he'll continue on with his desire to go for a double reverse shuttle without a ground force. He's getting Storm upgrade there as well. There's no Citadel of the Dune researching Zealot speed yet, which might have been a smart adaptation to make, but he wants to stick to the drops, which is going to be, might be a little bit hard to pull off, because one thing I know about Brain is that his Wraith control and his scanning is absolutely impeccable. So look at this, he's already scanning the base, keeping track of when those shuttles will leave, where they will go, so you can pick them off with the raids. He has no raids finished yet, but once those raids are finished, he's going to put them to use there on the sides. Or maybe go shuttle hunting. He's got 2 options. He already has vision there up on the hills, thanks to those barracks and engineering base. They lifted pretty early on into the match. He's relocating this barrack to this spot right there. Putting up 2 tanks there at his command center to protect against those drops. There's a bunker there, but there's nothing inside the bunker. All the units are in the front tank there in the front as well. There's a nice wall there as well to keep units out, or at least to make it harder for units to get in. And 458 is actually thinking the same thing I was thinking. He's adding on a lot of gateways here, not adding on that many more robo facilities, but he's gonna have to damage Brain with this 1 drop that's coming in right now. But Braingod has scans on the... Well, he's been scanning diligently every single couple of seconds. He also saw the shuttle with that Marine. Not sure if he noticed or was looking at the map at the same time, but he might know that this drop is coming in hot, looking for a way in. He finds a turret there. Ooh, that might have just given away the fact that a drop was coming, although he doesn't respond to it. But the Reavers unload, but they're unload way too far away, so they will never arrive on the scene to endanger any of those SCVs. But another drop there coming in from the other top side, but this time he will get sniped there as well, because there's a lot of turrets there. There's vision on top of the hill, which extends the turret range to about here. So the first 2 drop attempts there from 458 falling short by, well, I wanted to say not much, but this is honestly quite a big fail in terms of investment and results, specifically because Braingod went for such a risky build order, where he is at the moment still exposed to a ground force attack. But 458 is diligently putting all of his units into those shuttles as fast as he can as they spawn. He loads them up immediately as those 2 shuttles spawn. He's got the starports there, or start gates there, producing diligently as well, non-stop. He comes in there from the left side, flies in towards the minerals, but the shuttles there are ready to intercept. 1 Templar unloads, but Templar gets a storm off, and the Templar gets 1, no, 2 or 3 SCV kills, but not what he was looking for. He was looking for way more, and he honestly needed way more, because Brain at the moment is on 59 workers, and he's adding on a 4th command center there as well. His front there is still a little bit weak, but he can of course always just siege up his tanks in between his factories and make entering, doing damage after entering harder than if he didn't. So Templars here on the right side, and a drop coming in from, nope, that's just some Corsairs there, no drop there on the left side, and he storms the raids, but the raids are dodging the storm quite well controlled, so he keeps them alive, avoids most damage as he can. He did have to pull off his SVs there from the minerals, but no damage once again received here by Brain. He's completely fine. 458 is having a really tough time. He's building cannons on the side to make it harder for those raids to fly over to the sides to facilitate and start a contain on Brain. But Brain here is, well, beating him to the punch and killing those cannons here on the side, so that's not going to work. Shuttle drop there comes in from the other side though, but there's 2 raids there and 3 Goliaths ready to snipe them out of the air, and he's going to do exactly that. 1 Templar unloads, 2 Templar unload, he gets a storm off on those SVs, but SVs dodging the storm, he just loses 5 of them. But once again, not a significant loss, because he has 4 SCVs coming in per 4 seconds, although he's not producing from this one because he wants to make a scan there first. He also has no scan energy on any of his scans except this one. That means that he has been scanning a lot, very diligently. He's been doing a great job with his scans, keeping information, keeping tabs on 458 on the drop here. No, that's Dragoons. He's waiting with loading up his shuttles. He is mostly focusing on spending his minerals now because he has to catch up. Basically, not spending all your minerals is, well, not the best option or the best scenario, but it is okay if your drops manage to deal damage. Once your drops don't deal a lot of damage, not spending all your minerals instantly becomes a very crippling and handicapping thing that 458 might be suffering from very soon, because Brain here is on 152 supply already 10 minutes into the game, and all he has to do is add a couple more depots and he'll be on 200 supply within the blink of an eye. So a lot of Corsairs here. The Corsairs are there to fight against the raids and to help support those shuttles to get in on target, but Brain is very wisely dancing back and forth. He's got his raids here on the right side, Goliaths on the left side. So he's got units to snipe shuttles, and he goes in, sees it coming in, snipes the shuttle, snipes the other shuttle there as well with single volleys. And the Corsairs cannot fight against the raids because there's no detection for those invisible raids. And once again, another drop there gets shut down without effort whatsoever. 458 is having a really tough time here, and Brain is just not making a single mistake in his drop defense. And this is about a time where I think 458 has to start mixing it up and go for a frontal attack before Brain has too many tanks, too many ground forces to fight off those units coming in from 458. But 458 wants to stick to his drops just for a little while longer, because he really has to start hitting those workers here if he wants to slow Brain down. Because even just fighting against Brain's mass at this point is going to be very difficult, because he does lack the amount of gateways he needs to facilitate a constant production and ability to max out non-stop quickly. Once again, he sees the drop coming in, focuses down the shuttles, but the shuttles are going to make it all the way, no! Forces to unload way too far away, and once again, doesn't get the results he wanted. And Brain is just going to grow a little bit bigger once again. He's almost on 200 supply here. He only has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 factories there and 2 starports, and he's already moving out because he just scanned his opponent's base. Well, I can't see it anymore because the observer, the replay function isn't really working out that well. But he saw that 458 is opting to go for carriers and has a pretty big drop flying over the map, which is a lot of supply that is moving out. And he doesn't have the supply here in his base to fight against all these tanks moving out from Brain. And Brain still has his raids to defend. He is leaving only a single tank behind and 4 Marines to defend against drops, and drops coming in there from the right side. But once again, raids coming in to snipe the shuttles, but this time around, shuttles will arrive there on the scene, but they are too far away from the SVs because the SVs are running away to the left side of the base. He gets the storms off on those. Actually, he gets a lot of storms off on raids, kills the raids, and the SVs there are running away. But I don't think he needs those SCVs anymore, because look at this mass coming in through the front, and those tanks are on level 1-1 upgrades already, only 13 minutes into the game, against level 001 Zealots, which are almost a level 2 weapon upgrade, but not yet where they, well, would want to be at. But do note it's only 13 minutes into the game, and Brain is already going for the counter-attack, very much like what Minchel did a couple videos ago against 458 as well, where he had an amazing timing on his counterattack, knowing exactly when 458 is weakest. And it looks like the 12-minute mark is definitely a point in the game where 458 is by far the weakest, given the condition, of course, that you as a Terran don't take any damage whatsoever, which is quite rare and quite difficult to do. Because most players cannot defend drops this easily, or as easily as Brain does right here. Brain just seems to have no problems defending against drops whatsoever in 99% of his games. He is just absolutely amazing at it, and he might just be the natural counter to 458 style, which is very reliant on drops, very reliant on spamming out those drops, and very reliant on dealing damage with those drops, because he doesn't build or spend much time on building his base at all, compared to most other players who would be spending more time building their base, but also spending a lot less time trying to kill his opponent. 458 basically just tries to kill his opponent non-stop, and if it doesn't work, well, he dies. But most of the time, against most people, he kills them before 12 minutes. But getting through those 12 minutes, you see this situation here where the tanks are rolling in. Goliaths have all died though, but he's just replacing them with vultures because he knows carriers are definitely not going to be entering the mix here. And yeah, he knows he's won, and 458 knows that Brain has won here as well, and 458 taps out 14 minutes in 44 seconds. and didn't really stand a chance in this particular game. They tried really hard, but Brain just walked him over without effort. Great timing and game sense there, though. It's not as easy as Braingod made it look. It's definitely not this easy. Most people, as we've seen many times in the past, most people succumb to 4-5-8's Protoss versus Terran gameplay. It's just very difficult to do. And then along comes a player who makes it look this easy, which is really confusing. How can it be this easy? Well, don't lose any SCVs. Don't lose anything, basically. Don't lose anything. Don't lose any units. Keep perfect track of the opponent, and then that's how you win. It just happens. Anyway, this is the best of series, which I hadn't mentioned before, but which I will put up in the title. So let's move over to game number 2 and see who wins that one. Alright, so welcome back for game number 2, where we have, once again, 4-5-8 against Braingod. At least I think it's Braingod. I don't have real confirmation, but there's only one, maybe 2 or 3 players who match this APM/EAPM criteria. But those other 2 players use very specific names, and Braingod always changes his names. And because the names are different than the other 2 players, I can pretty surely assume that's Braingod. At least that's what I hope. The EAPM was very high though, very high EAPM. Alright, so he starts off with the same build order, he's on the same location. 4-5-8 swapped locations to the other side of the map, so it's a kind of a mirror matchup in terms of where they are spawning. Protoss versus Terran, of course, once again, and I'm gonna speed up the first 2 minutes. So I forgot to speed up the first one, but let's speed up the second one. 4-5-8 starts off with a little bit less of a conservative build. He wants to have some punching power very early on, so he starts off with 2 gateways there in before his Nexus. Queues up his Zealots before the Nexus as well, so his probe production skyrocketing up is going to take a little while longer, but at least he'll have those Zealots out on the map quicker to start punching back at Brain, who is only starting with a 2 barrack build order into an academy straight up. He's scouting the map already with his SCVs there and his Zealots. The probe immediately finds where Braingod is located, but is forced to turn tail and run away to safety because there's Marines there ready to kill it. So Brain manages to keep that information out of 4-5-8's hands, and he'll very soon find 4-5-8's base. So there's 4 Marines out on the map and 1 SCV. He knows exactly where 4-5-8 is located because he's eliminated all the other options here on the map. So, and he comes through the front. Let's follow the Marines. No, yes, follow the Marines. So he's balling them up first. He wants to ball them up, but this is also giving away to 4-5-8 that those Marines are here, ready to start some beef. So the Zealots are coming in from both directions to make it hard for Brain to get through, but Brain is gonna... oh, he's getting behind them. He's expecting Brain to run away, but Brain, knowing that his escape path has been cut off, decides to immediately send those Marines into 4-5-8's base, and 4-5-8 very wisely, Brain very wisely splits them up to split the focus from 4-5-8 to different things, and he gets those Marines in on the probes, and the probes are being forced off the gas in order to keep them alive, runs them away, then runs the Marines away after the probes have run away, and he's running away from those Zealots, and he's doing so quite well, and he's getting more probe kills there too. Fighter on the middle starting, but Brain is very wisely running away because it's honestly too hard to juggle 2 fighting Marine groups against Zealots at the same time, so he decides to just juggle this one group, and now he's re-engaging here as well, while microing this group here too, and he's actually getting the group there out almost alive. He's going to try to kill the cannon there in the front or force it to cancel. That's going to be great because now that means that the cannon won't finish in time. And those Zealots are running away from the fire bats because he started off with that 2 barrack build order into an academy, which lets him get very fast Stimmer Blade and very fast fire bats. Now those fire bats are going to win against these Zealots because the Zealots are getting microed to death by Brain, who has amazing Marine micro, and he keeps his fire bats alive there. This is absolutely insane micro here from Brain, who didn't lose any of his fire bats. He did lose a couple of Marines there, but in the end comes out on top by so much by fighting against 6 Zealots and winning the fight so extremely hard. This is absolutely stupid how hard he won that fight with such insane, well-executed micro. He's trying to get on top of the probes though, but there's too many cannons for him to do so. So he pulls back, he's going to kill that pylon there in the front and get more units sent cross-map to reinforce these units from Brain. And also building a factory. He's building 3 factories? Building 3 factories for vultures and tanks both at the same time. He's adding on more refineries there as well. And he added 2 command centers while all that was happening. He's actually maximizing his potential and his efficiency to the maximum, which is really impressive. To do all this at the same time, the micro, the build order, the building, the not wasting a single second, not wasting any minerals or any time, the macro is absolutely perfect. He comes in with the fire bats there, attacking the zealots. The zealots are running away back to the cannons. He's got a Citadel of Doom there, but also do know that he's building a proxy base here on the side. He's got robos there and a robotic facility there as a support bay there as well, upgrading shuttle speed. He's got 2 Reavers there on the way. He's going for a double Reaver sneak drop there. But it looks like Brain knows, because Brain is seeing all this here, but he's not seeing... So let's do some deductive reasoning here. He knows that by this point, 4 should be having just enough gas for Temple's Archive and a double Robo or a Robo facility, or if he couldn't afford the Robo facility, he would have had more gateways. But he doesn't have more gateways, which means that they have to be somewhere else on the map, so he's sending his units to all adjacent spots on the map to see if there's something there on those corner spots or the spot there on the middle. And he finds this right here, kills the probe as fast as he can, but he's already too late because the shuttle's already arriving on the scene there next to the SCVs there, and Brain is actually responding a little bit slow here. He sends his SCVs to safety just in time, and SCVs won't die to the Scarab. Oh, he gets some Scarab kills, SCV kills there with the Scarabs. Tank comes in there from the back. SCVs are, units are all running back to base. SCVs are running away from the base. He's going to try to kill this proxy here as well, but Reavers are on the way from those robos. Shuttle finished there just now as well. He's killing SVs here on the scene. Gonna micro the Reaver shuttle there to kill those tanks. No, he's running them away. No, he's microing them. Little shuttle there arrives on the scene. He's going to pick them up, micro them back and forth to keep them away from the damage. He's repairing the tank there with the SCVs there. But will it be enough? The SCVs have returned to the minerals, but this might just be too risky. And he's loading next to the SCVs. SCVs are running away. He gets a kill in the tank. The proxy here is going to die to all the Marines and Fire Bats that have arrived on the scene there. There's Dark Tempest here as well, which are going to kill all these units here because there is a scan upgrade here. But will he be in time to use the scan because he's trying to defend his main base here at the same time? Will he get the scan down? He kills the pylon there. Maybe he kills the Reaver there as well. The Reavers here inside the base manage to get away alive. He scans the Dark Templars, kills the Dark Templars here on the proxy base, and manages to kill them and keep most of his units there alive. But the fact that he had his SCVs off the minerals for so long means he's got no money. As you can see right there on the top corner, he also lost about 10 SCVs there in total. And Brain is being very, very risky here by lifting up his barracks instead of using them to produce more Marines to make defending against these shuttles and those drops from 4 easier. The drops are hanging in the top corner. Dark Templars are being landed inside the base here as well, and there's no turrets inside the base. There is enough scan energy there though to detect the Dark Templars, so the Dark Templars are just there to distract from the Reaver, which is now coming in there from the other side, and he's going to lock them right here on top of those SCVs there, and he calls the GG. WW is the GG on the Korean keyboard. The Reavers go down there. Looks like Braingod went AFK. Just watching. There's no longer any inputs from both players actually. They're just looking at this. Yeah, both players are just looking at this. There's no longer any APM coming in, so we're just going to speed this one up. Pew 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 pew. Look at them go down. And yeah, that's the game. So Braingod loses game number 2. Even though it's very close, 458 managed to get those Shuttle Reavers out just in time. The scan came in a little bit too late from Brain, and Brain just had to give up, sacrifice his life, and call it GG. Which now means we're going to game number 3. And, well, who's it going to be? Who is it going to be? Who's going to be victorious in this set between 458 and Braingod? And both players are, once again, well, actually for the first time, they're right next to each other. Braingod here on the 11th spawn, We've got 4-8 here on the 9 spawn, playing the Protoss once again. Braingod, of course, once again on the Terran. A fun fact about Braingod is that he managed to qualify or obtain his Pro card first on Protoss, but then he did it again playing Terran. So he got his Pro card twice with 2 different races, which is honestly quite impressive. To be that good at 2 different races. Not a lot of people are able or capable of doing that. Alright, so we're gonna speed up the first minute or 2. He starts off with a barracks, a depot first. Braingod is playing a very passive game here. Very, very passive. Whereas 458 might just be able to punish him for it because he's going for that 2 gateway start, which of course will spell some trouble here for Braingod, who is only just now starting his first barracks. 458 is gonna fly right in and find his opponent on the very first scouting attempt. There's an SV there, SV is gonna fight the probe, another SV there gonna build a barracks. So depot, command center, barracks against a gateway, nexus, but first 2 zealots queued up. Because 458 likes to get those zealots out there pretty quick before the nexus so he can start dealing some damage with those 2 zealots. The barracks might just finish in time before either of these 2 zealots finish and arrive on the scene, which might just give Braingod just enough time to get a bunker up in his base. It would have been really nasty here if 458 decided to switch things up and go for a cannon push with zealots, but he's sticking to the build order. He's going for a nexus, and that means he's going for gas after this one as well, and a forge and a cyber core as well to get up the choke here in the front and maybe go for the double reaver attack that he did last game, which saved his life last game. But in this game, I think he might, well, he maybe should have gone for the adaptation into a cannon push. There's 1 gas there, 1 SV there running in circles, trying to get information. No cybercore there yet. Zealots are arriving on the scene, but the bunker will finish just in time. And Braingod gets the Marine inside the bunker within a matter of seconds. It was very close, but 2 Marines there in the bunker is going to kill SVs there instead with the probe and the zealots. And Braingod is losing a couple of his SCVs there. He did manage to clip one of his SCVs to safety through the zealot. He starts to gas there as well. Marines are unloading from the bunker, and the zealot there in the corner is going to go down with more zealots arriving here on the scene, ready to kill more Marines, but the Marines are going into the bunker. And then another probe there arrives on the scene. He's going to try to kill more SCVs there. He's disrupting the mining by quite a bit. But it looks like his multitasking was not as good as Brain's because his minerals are quite high this early into the game. He does have the cyber core and the forge there on the way, but no cannons are in the front, and now the Marines are on the counter push because they want to punish 458 for losing all of his zealots there this early while not losing any of his own Marines whatsoever to any of those zealots, which now means that 458 is looking at some trouble. Let's have 2 more Marines there, zealots there on the way, but Brain there with his absolutely insane Marine micro is looking to punish 458, who wasted his zealots without getting his cannons up there in the front first. Which now means that Braingod is very slowly but surely sending more Marines into the action and going for the counterattack that we never expected was even possible of happening. He kills the cannon. Cannon number 2 gonna get cancelled and killed there as well. And now he's just gonna walk through the back there and finish off his opponent, who pretty much has nothing left to defend. And this is one of the freakiest freak accidents that I've ever seen in my life, where a person going with a +1 command center as a start manages to just walk into the Protoss base and kill the Protoss there with some absolutely insane Marine micro. He's microing those Marines to safety so well, losing as few as he can, kill a couple of probes and zealots there in the process. And there's 1 more cannon there coming up there in the front, but it's going to go down because 458 is not in time with protecting it, and more Marines are arriving here on the scene, and it looks like this is a GG, a done game, a done deal, because 458 is definitely not going to come back from this one, because not enough probes have been pulled off the minerals to fight against those SCVs, but I don't think, not against the Marines, but I don't think pulling off any probes would have been enough or would have done the deal, because pulling your probes off the minerals, of course, means that you don't get any income, which of course is also a huge win-win for the Terran. It's just gonna walk in there, kill all the probes, and 458 is still in disbelief that this just happened. He is in complete disbelief. He cannot believe his eyes. This is one of the freakiest freak accidents I've ever seen in my life. In a Terran vs Protoss, I've never seen this happen before like this. He made a huge mistake. He tried to go, he thought he had it. He thought he had some real damage on those SCVs there, but he missed the fact that Braingod was not losing any Marines. It was just a little bit late, like it was 5 seconds too slow with his cannons up there in the front, and Braingod just went for the counterattack immediately knowing that he had more Marines. He just connected the dots, used his brain. He's called Braingod for a reason, and he comes out on top within only 5 minutes and 18 seconds and wins in probably a record time. A best of 3 against 458. We've never seen 458 lose a best of 3 this quickly. Usually when he loses, it takes a while. But apparently, freak accidents, freak events, and freak occurrences do happen in nature. And this is one of them. Yeah, thanks for watching. I hope this was amusing. I hope you were impressed with Braingod's absolutely insane decision-making process, because these choices were absolutely insane. You will never see these specific choices from anyone else, but probably Braingod, maybe Minchul, maybe Mong. But Mong is a little bit more of a defensive player instead of an offensive player, so Mong, well, he doesn't make these choices. Maybe because of a lack of experience, maybe because of a lack of insight. Nobody knows. Anyway, thanks for watching. Leave a like, leave a subscribe, do whatever you want, you've got the power, and hope to be seeing you around next time once again. Goodbye.